This is tutorial 4-1 in GIS Tutorial Workbook 3. In this tutorial, we're going to be creating new features, and we're also going to be organizing our map better. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to organize our table of contents much better. What this is important is if you're going to be sharing this mixed file with anyone else, they need to be able to open it and know what they're looking at. So what we're going to do first is we're going to rename our layers. Data frame. And we're going to do that in properties. We're just going to go to general, and we're just going to change it to proposed rail station. And we're just going to click OK. And now what they want us to do is they want us to add a new base map layer. And in that new base map layer, they want us to add property ownership and monuments. And they want us to name that base map layer property base group. And they want us to change monument to survey control points, because most people, if they were to open it up, they would actually think it's like a statue or something. Now, what a property base map group does is it allows you to have it representative. It'll show up in the actual background, it'll show up in legend, but when you're working on it, it won't be as interactive. For example, if you're creating new features, it will not snap to those features. Next, what they want us to do is they want us to right-click on Property Base Group and go into Properties. And in here, you can change the name if you want. You can mess with the extent. You can add or remove more shape features or feature classes. And in display, you can change transparency for everything in it. Now, just like if you're doing a regular group, if you have transparency on an individual feature class in this group, this transparency will be added to it. Then there's a your turn, and they just want us to add a new group layer. They want to name it North Olander Station Group. And they want us to add buildings, rail lines, and buildings and paving lines. So the only one that's not in a group is lot boundaries. And it's good because you can just quickly collapse these. Like if you're not working with a group, you can quickly collapse it and not have it clutter up your table of contents. Next, what they want us to do is work with bookmarks. Now, if you're working with a group of people, sometimes you might not have the group or the bookmark. So what they want us to show us is how to actually load them. So you just go to Manage Bookmarks, go to Load, and what you do is you just go where it would be stored. In our case, it's going to be in GIST3, Data, Bookmarks, and it's right here, ORTA site. Then you just click Close, and then it shows up in our bookmarks, and then we zoom in. Now you could email that to someone that has this mix file, and they would be able to zoom into that. And as you can see, when we move, because this is a base map group, those parcels are drawn much quicker than if they were an actual shape as a regular shape file. Now what we're going to learn is how to mess with the extent. As you can see, if we click full extent now, we zoom all the way out, which could be a hassle if we're working in our bookmark area and we just want to, like, say, zoom into this little segment to do some work real quick. It's so much easier just to click on that than have to go to bookmark and go to that bookmark. And plus, you might have multiple bookmarks in there. So what we're going to do is we're going to right click on our data set or our data frame, go to properties, and we're going to go to data frame. And down here, extent used for full extent command, you're going to have other checked, and you're going to choose current visible extent. Now we're going to zoom back into here, full extent, and boom. Now we're actually going to start working on creating our new feature. And to do that, you're going to want to make sure your editing toolbar is open, which is right here. If not, it's just in Customize, Toolbars, Editor. So we're going to go to Editor, start editing. And they want you to click on the ORTA geodatabase. And that will make these three things selected for editing. Now normally when you do this, a create features menu will pop up right here. Mine's turned off where I have to click on this button right here. So if it doesn't come up, just click on this one and it pops up right here. Then you want to choose rail lines. And you want to make sure line is selected. Now we're going to be using multiple ways of creating ours. In previous tutorials and other books, we just drew them by snapping and just going where we wanted with it. With this, we have to be very precise because it's a rail line. So what we're going to do is we're going to right click and do absolute XY. And what this is doing is we're putting a point at exact XY coordinates. And once that's done, you just hit enter. And you can see that it showed up right there. And if you hover right over it in the bottom corner here, the number should match up with what you put in. But you'd have to be like dead center for it to be 100% accurate. And you'd probably have to be zoomed in really, really close. Now what we're going to do is we're going to use the Delta XY tool. So we're going to right click and go to Delta XY. And they want us to put in 417.9. And then for this one, have 0. Now this is our X, this is our Y, meaning this will go left to right, and this one will go up and down. Now we put a positive number in, so that's going to go to the right. If I put negative 700 or 417.9, it would go to the left. The same goes with Y. If it's a positive number, it goes up. If it's a negative number, it goes down. So with these numbers put in, we just hit enter, and it shows up right here, 714.9 feet away from the original point. Okay, and if you ever make a mistake, you can just right click on a axis, and you can either delete the whole sketch or delete the vertex. Now we're going to use another tool, which is the direction length. Now we're going to put in 11.46, and then we're going to put 704.59. Now this is the angle, and this is the distance in feet. That's because that's the coordinate system we're using, as you can see down here. Now, right here is 0, and straight up would be 90. On the left side, it would be 180, and then it'd be 270, and then back to 0, or 360. So once that's done, you just click enter again, and it shows up right there. Now we're going to be using another tool. Now this is on a new toolbar. It's not on this editor. So you have to go to Customize, Toolbars, and it's on the Feature Construction. And it's this two lines together, the constrain parallel. And what you want to do is you want to click on this lot boundaries edge, because it's going to be parallel now with that feature. As you can see, if I bring my mouse up here, it doesn't stretch it over here. It stretches it parallel to that line and only changes the distance. Now that we have that angle, what we're going to do is we're going to right click and we're going to choose length. And this is going to be the longest line we do. It's 3,271.2. Then you just click enter, and that's just length. Okay, and now what we're going to do is we're going to use another tool, and it's going to be tangent curve segment. And this one's going to give it a little curve. As you can see, as I move it, it gets more and more curved. And they're going to have us use the delta XY again. And it's 1,723.4. 506.6. And once we're done, we're going to finish our sketch. So you just right click, finish sketch. Now you can see it didn't really make it that curved, but it has a slight curve to it. Whereas this part right here is very blocky. We'll zoom in to see better on that. As you can see right here, it's very angular. And what we're going to do is we're going to be using a tool that will kind of make that seem more curved. So we're going to get rid of this toolbox. We're going to go up to Customize, Toolbars, Advanced Editing. We're going to use this tool right here. And as you can see by the picture, it kind of makes it a little bit curved. So we're just going to click on that. What you want to do is you want to click here and then click here. One before the angle and one after the little angle. And then you just drag up. And you can see it did a little bit better, but we could probably make it look a little bit nicer. Okay, that's probably about as good as I'm going to get it. But as you can see now, it's not as blocky. And we're going to try it on this one a little bit as well. Now we're going to go to our full extent. And as you can see, it looks more like a natural line. It's not it doesn't have as many sharp angles. Then what they want us to do is actually clear our selection. And it's just a line. Now, most people, when they look at rail lines, they're used to tracks. So we're going to change the symbol. You just click on that. And what they want us to do is they want us to type up here, railroad multi-track. And it's right here. Okay, as you can see, that's what we have right there. And it's a little bit nice and curved. It's not really sharp, because you wouldn't expect train tracks to have sharp turns. And that's it for this tutorial.